Welcome, everyone, to our Power Thinking, rejuvenating your amazing mind training for Wednesday, April the 8th, 2026. And this is our 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time edition. And wherever you are in the world, whether it's Wednesday night or if it's Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, we appreciate you being with us, investing just 30 minutes out of the thousands and thousands of minutes, over 10,000 minutes that we have during the course of the week. I'm so happy that you're investing just 30 with us so that we can build these incredibly essential skills of resilience so that we can handle those tough times. Last week, we talked about bouncing back from a defeat, from a major setback. It was in the context of the men's basketball tournament, March Madness. And whether you are a fan of it or not, you may have seen something on the news or heard something somewhere about Duke being defeated, about UConn and what happened, and the player that made a mistake that cost them the game. And we focused on how that person was feeling, and we were examining how the young person was bouncing back in real time. Well, still in March Madness over the weekend. It just ended on Monday with the men's and Sunday with the women's tournament. But in the women's tournament, you may have seen something where I'm from Philadelphia, and a Philadelphia native, Dawn Staley, actually led her team so well. Dawn came out of Philadelphia, North Philadelphia, and done so well for herself and for the people that she has touched. And the team had an incredible victory over a team that won 54 games straight. They were undefeated this year. And then last year they won so many games straight, a total of 54. Well, we did have a little glitch. We'll get that straightened out. Okay, my connection's back. So, what happened was University of Connecticut, UConn women were expected to win it, and were beaten by and embarrassed. Talk about loss of standing. They were on high and had high standing in women's college basketball, and they were defeated soundly, not by a large score, but it was a convincing loss. The coach of UConn, Gino Auriemma, he from Philadelphia, outside of Philadelphia, in Norristown, actually, much older than Dawn. Actually, he coached Dawn during the Olympics in the 90s. I mean, his career goes back 41 years, and when Dawn was probably about 10 years old. He was coaching. So he's had all of this experience in all of these tournaments and was seen as the kind of the godfather of coaching, not only for women, but for men as well. And he was beat soundly by this young person that he used to coach. I don't know the trigger, and we shared a video with you called "Coping Skills for Kids," and it was managing feelings and emotions, and it was geared towards elementary and middle school kids, elementary and middle school self-regulation, or emotion regulation, as we call it, with our power thinking framework. So again, here's a 5.5 minute kids video, but there are many adults who could benefit and certainly are way behind many children in terms of their ability to regulate their emotions, which is one of the key inner strengths of bouncing back from adversity. So think about it. Over the weekend, it was this major adversity that Gino Auriemma experienced. He was losing, and before the last quarter of the game, he was interviewed, and I was surprised. He was so angry. Talk about emotions, negative emotions, and he was blaming the referees and that they weren't making the right calls and pointing the finger at Dawn Staley, the opposing coach, and she got away with too many things, and I never heard anything like it. And I was really shocked, and many were shocked to hear this tone from him. And then even at the end of the game, when they would, go, each team in from their respective benches would meet and shake hands. And he said something. I still don't know exactly what he said to Dawn Staley, and she was mad. Talk about emotion regulation on her side. Her response was with anger and says, "Hey, I'm going to kick his." And we're going, wow. And of course, with the algorithms and social media, they said, let's grab it. And it was all over the place. And then, of course, you go into the comments and people have all kinds of comments about the incident. That's what makes social media thrive. And we're kind of the anti-social media platforms with power thinking because we're sending those morsels of positivity with our power thinking boosts, with affirmations during the day, with a resilience inner strength or skill, and a video associated with our financial tips. We're trying to count. Anyone, hit that *6. Any comments about emotion regulation? The 5 big negative emotions: anger, the belief that someone violated your rights; guilt, the belief that you violated someone else's rights; sadness, loss, just pure loss, a loved one, health, a job, a contract; embarrassment, loss of standing in a group; and anxiety, a fear of a future threat. When I think about the coach of UConn, he had all of those. He certainly was angry. The refs violated his rights to have a really fair game. And I'm sure a little guilt when he violated verbally Dawn Staley at the end of the game. Sadness, of course, pure loss. They were expected to go all the way. They had won 54 games straight. Embarrassment, right? Loss of standing. He especially not just after the loss, but after the outburst, his inability to regulate his emotions, and of course, anxiety. What does that mean for the future? Because he did um, lose a little standing and respect as a result of that outburst, which was totally unexpected. So remember those inner strengths we have: that emotion regulation, the ability to stay calm under pressure. And remember in the video, the things that they talked about of being aware of triggers. One of the big triggers for Gino Auriemma was losing. How do you respond when you're losing and expected to win? Identify the emotions. What are you feeling? What are you thinking? In his case, we knew what he was thinking. Hey, he was magnifying a situation. You remember the thinking trap of minimizing the positive, magnifying the negative? He focused on, hey, somebody ripped my player's jersey, and the refs are not calling the game fairly. Externalizing. He was blaming and blaming and blaming. So he needed to be more aware of those thinking traps. But in the moment, this is what happened. He wasn't. What was he feeling in his body as it was tensing up? You saw it in his face. And of course, this is where you have to go to those coping skills. So our inner strength and resilience, and he lost the game. He lost a little standing because of the outburst at the end. So we know that his emotion regulation at the time was very low. It was below average. His impulse control, the ability not to say or do the first thing that comes to mind, was very low. His empathy, understanding another person's experiences and emotions. He didn't care about Dawn Staley. He wanted to go after her because she won the game. It couldn't be, hey, great job, congratulations. Advocacy, belief that you have ability to succeed. It was low there because He believed that he had no control. It was in the refs' hands, and the refs, did not treat him fairly. Optimism, the view that all things will ultimately have a successful outcome. Well, not if the deck is stacked against you. Causal analysis, a systematic way of getting to the root cause of a situation or problem. The root cause, quite frankly, was that his players didn't shoot well. They did not respond to the great defense of the other team and the great offense. So the causal analysis and making the adjustments that coaches do didn't happen. He was low there. And reaching out, taking the initiative to connect with other people, and taking action when faced with those setbacks and challenges. He took action, but it was the wrong action. He probably should have just talked to his assistant coaches and let them, and they ultimately did, try to calm him down. So real life example. You may have seen it on television. I'm going to go to the greetings from the folks on comments in a minute. But first, I want to go to a couple of the folks who are already on the line, and we appreciate you all for being with us. Let's go first to Carla Hill. Carla, thanks for joining us. Mention where you're joining us from and your thoughts about regulating these 5 big negative emotions. Welcome.
Thank you, Stanley. Calling from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And it sounds simple, but it's not easy. That video was a master class, even though it was for younger students. Just the structure, right, of helping to say, okay, becoming aware of what that triggering event is, and then identifying coping skills. There's different coping skills, and the call to action in terms of applying it. And what it got me to do was, I watched the video in the morning and the evening, and it helps me with processing. And what coping skills do I typically use? And I love them categorizing it as well, just in terms of you can have relaxation, coping skills, distraction, movement, getting up, just moving around, thinking skills. But the real application of it comes with practice. There's reasons that we say in professional occupations, we say, oh, these are practitioners. I submit that, just like the 10,000 hours, whatever you're doing, you are practicing it. That's how you get good. And that's, to me, the basis of these calls, to become practitioners at it. And one of the things that it helped me with thinking is, part of my personality is understated. So I do have emotional control a lot. I have to, just being 35 years in HR and interacting with different people. But what I see as a major challenge after taking the power thinking assessment is that I'm more under for empathy. So I can appear to be too detached, and I realize it's processing the video, especially when there's one of my tools I realize is the serenity prayer. God, help me to control the things that I can control. Help me, give me the serenity to accept the things that I can, and the courage to do the things that I have action to do, right? And a lot of people skip over that second part about the courage. So when I realize I don't have control over it, I really don't like that. And especially if that, and I see it if, a close family member is ill, or where I don't really have action, I really don't have control. So I tend to, what's the word? It's because I'm used to taking control. I'm used to solving problems, but there's things that are out of my control.
Right.
But then the empathy that's needed, those individuals still need empathy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's balancing that. So this inventory of what are the coping skills and what am I good at, and really what the younger kids say, finesse. You have to be a practitioner and know which tool to use.
That's right.
So the not having control and being under not as empathetic may protect me, but it's not giving what that other person may need at the time. So it's processing it, and that's
right.
Watching the videos twice. That's what is picked up for me, and that's how we become practitioners. Because if you don't even know what is triggering it, if you don't even know you have coping skills, if you don't know when to use the coping skills, if you're not processing why I'm not using it, and your natural bent towards it, how do you become proficient at it?
Exactly.
And it's uncomfortable. It's fun. It's not fun, right? But if you want to get to those goals and you want to become proficient at those things, but it's not your career of being understated. He just lost it.
He lost it.
Human being.
And he said that finally he apologized to Dawn Staley. I think over the weekend he apologized, but it was to the team and to South Carolina, the school, the state, everything. Everybody but Dawn Staley. And he finally, communicated to Dawn Staley. It was, I lost myself. He was totally overcome with these negative emotions, and we all saw it. It was like, wow, look at this. It's happening in real time. And he could have used that video that you talked about that we shared that was focused on elementary and middle schoolers. Right? We all could use it, especially. So Carla, thank you so much. And Carla will be joining us next week at this time. You'll have this worldwide audience, and we can talk about AI. I shared an article with you, AI and jobs and the future. So, we definitely want to get a chance to talk about that and what you're doing and helping people, along those lines. So appreciate you. Thank you very much. And we will go next to, let's do this. Before we go to Greg, thanks, Greg. And anyone else, hit that *6. So what did you think about that video? 5.5 minutes geared towards kids. There are many adults that we know. Certainly, we talked about the coach, but how about our world leaders? How about our world leaders? And the anger that we're seeing there, the negative emotions, the sadness, the guilt, the anger, probably more anger than anything, where folks are, going to be blowing each other up and, we're going to kill everybody, and just amazing language that is shared. So any comments about that, feel free to hit that *6 or write in the comments. And I'm going to start from the top and go through some of the comments that we had here. We had Layla Llewellyn, who joined us on YouTube, joining us on YouTube. Hello, Power Thinking family. So the family is YouTube, and she's in California. And we have also Merle, who is joining us from Northern Jersey. Hello, Stanley Green. Greetings live from Northern New Jersey, and love the continuous theme of March Madness. It's never a dull moment. That's why they call it March Madness, right? We also have Charles Caldwell joining from, and he says, greetings from Hong Kong. So he's in Hong Kong, China. Charles, thanks for joining us. Also, Natasha, Charles, who's here in the U.S. Natasha, thanks for joining us. I believe you joined us this morning as well. And then we have live from the Philippines. We're global, folks. And from the Philippines, we have Charito Yamar. Good morning, Stanley Green. It's Thursday morning in the Philippines. Good morning, Stanley Green and everyone. So thank you for joining us. And we also have Felipe, who is happy Wednesday from Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia area, Stanley Green and everyone. So Felipe and I had a great meeting, one of our connection calls a few weeks ago. I appreciate you, Felipe, for what you do in helping people understand human resources, jobs, and those matters. And we also have Coach Carrie Willis, and we had Coach Carrie on when she was just at the beginning of her journey in doing events, and now she's everywhere. just love to see it, and love to see the content, the guests. You're doing great work. I'm surprised you have time to pop into to our little session. Coach Carrie Willis, congrats on everything, and thanks for joining us. And she's saying hello from Indiana, so much appreciated. So any comments, feel free to throw them out here on LinkedIn. Great to be back this evening. Good to have you back this evening. Yeah, this morning and evening, like a few other members, such as Carla Hill. Let's go right to Greg Jones next. Greg, thank you for joining us. Mention where you're joining us from, and you were here this morning as well. Great story you shared. And your thoughts about those 5 big negative emotions. Didn't know if you wanted to comment on the coaching controversy, or how social media algorithms love drama and to spread it. And it's been found there have been lawsuits that have been filed and won as a result of what social media and some platforms are doing with, especially with our young people. So welcome. Your thoughts, please.
Yeah, good evening, Stan and Power Thinking family. And yeah, I related, or reference rather, my grandson this morning, how we, work on emotion regulation and, just trying to get a grip on things that make us feel a certain way and what those triggers are. He's actually with me right now, so I'm going to have him say hello real quick. Say hello.
Hi.
How you doing? What's your name?
Say louder.
Jones.
What Jones?
Gregory Jones the third.
Oh, he's Gregory Jones the third. Okay, you know what? I should have known. Gregory Jones the third. It's great to have you on. You can probably coach us and tell us the right things to do to keep those emotions regulated, right? So that's great.
Right? So yeah, I just wanted to have him say hello. And again, what we were talking, what you touched on this morning, and the video, is paramount, because awareness. I want to say that at some point, the UConn coach became aware of his negative response, or his actions, and came around to a place where, you know what, that's not what I'm about or who I am. Let me try to fix this.
Yes.
And a word that Dawn Staley used when she was interviewed afterwards was integrity.
Hmm.
And we teach our young men, these young men that we mentor, the name of the group that we mentor, and certainly anytime you're in New York and Brooklyn and the Bedford-Stuyvesant area, you have a standing open invitation to come and speak to these boys.
Thank you.
The name of our group is called the Young Men of Character. YMOC. The Young Men of Character. And when you think from the top, leadership at the top of this country and everything in between, we need to work on our character. We need to work on integrity. We need to represent better than what we've been representing. And that's across the board. There's always work to do. And it starts with some of the things that you've been teaching us over the years. I am so thankful and grateful. Calvin Patterson is the one who connected me to this group when he was the president of the Winston-Salem Black Chamber of Commerce. And I just want to leave you with this. Another gentleman who I met through this forum, Harold Christian.
Yes.
Who I've never in person met, but he and I have bonded, and we speak almost on a daily basis.
Wow, that's great.
I haven't been to Virginia. He hasn't been to New York. We have bonded through this format. And the things that you're teaching and what we represent here at Power Thinking are paramount, very necessary, and very needed. I am complete.
Fantastic, great. Thank you so much. And Greg Jones the third, we thank you for joining us as well. You obviously could be doing a lot of other things, video games, certainly homework, and we appreciate you. Continue to do the great work, what you're learning from your grandfather, spread that to other young people and other adults, because you'll catch adults, getting a little out of control, and you can say to them, "Hey, my grandfather told me how to take some deep breaths," and they'll appreciate that. So we appreciate each one of you folks for joining us, and as we kind of wrap up, I just want to give you a summary of what this is all about. Power Thinking acquired a company called Reflective Learning years ago, and Reflective Learning, through their affiliation with the University of Pennsylvania, had the rights to material that we are sharing with you. And through that acquisition, we inherited two 6-hour multiple module courses, one for adults, one for young people, on resilience. I thought, I have been things I've experienced certainly as a young person, but then in helping companies from cable TV at Suburban Cable, the Greater Media Cable, to being vice president in my 30s, late 30s, in charge of changing the culture of Bell Atlantic, to running a synthetic turf company, to leading the industry trade association and Synthetic Turf Council as its chairman, running an internet company, doing the .com bubble, all kinds of experiences where we experienced adversities, we help folks, bounce back. And once I came across this material, I thought, oh my goodness, we can make the world have been researched, and it's all evidence-based, and we now have it in the form of an app. In the Power Thinking Corp app, you can scan that QR code in the upper right, or join in if you know Leslie Flowers, get her link, or any one of our members, or Carla Hill, anyone, Greg Jones, and get that link. And you'll find that we have this free trial, and as little as $9.99 a month for you to get the push notifications that can change your thinking and ultimately change your life. So our framework, I told you about those inner strengths. First, emotion regulation, that we're focusing on today, those 5 big negative emotions: anger, guilt, sadness, embarrassment, anxiety. There are many other negative emotions, but those are the big ones. In our video, it talked about being aware of what triggers those emotions. Identify the emotions, as I shared with you. Ask yourself, what am I thinking? What thinking traps am I falling into? And that's where you want to memorize. And every week we are giving you, through the app and through push notification, we're reminding you of those 7 inner strengths and the 7 skills. And one of them is avoiding the thinking traps, like jumping to conclusions, right? And externalizing, blaming. And when you start recognizing and being more aware of your thinking, and then you can deal with them. What are you feeling? And then, of course, the action skills, the coping skills. So the skills that we have that help you, learning the ABCs, we won't get into the details. I talked about the thinking traps, and some of those traps, there are 8 of them. And the first 3 skills are awareness skills, so that we're more aware of what's going on in our heads. The third of the 7 skills, and the third of the awareness skills, is detecting icebergs. What are these deep-rooted beliefs? Remember, anger is this belief that somebody's violating your rights. It may not be the case, but you really believe it. What are these deep-rooted beliefs? So we're aware of those are thinking traps, the deep-rooted beliefs, and then the next 4 are the action skills. Challenging beliefs, take action that way. Putting things in perspective, gratitude exercise in the morning, and then, of course, in the evening, writing down, before you go to bed tonight, write down those 3 good things that happened today. It helps you put things in perspective so that you don't get out of control with those emotions. Of course, the immediate, and what was mentioned in the video, calming and focusing, taking those deep breaths, 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out, and then real-time resilience. As we master these skills, we can bounce back faster. Like a Gino Auriemma, if he had a session like this before going into the game, we wouldn't see so many videos all over the internet about his lack of response. So just wanted to share all that with you. I see Charito said, I'm multitasking, working, and listening to you. Can't pass up the opportunity to listen to the 5 major negative emotions. This topic hits me much. God bless. So thank you for that, Charito out of the Philippines. And Felipe is also joining us on YouTube. So from LinkedIn to YouTube, awareness, as he says, is so important as we dive into our beliefs. Many people are just acting and responding blindly without, being aware. Great insight, Stanley, says Felipe from YouTube. So I want to thank you all for joining us. Remember, since we spend all of our time thinking, there's no gaps, there's always thinking. It's 50,000 thoughts a day. Stop in with us, get our Power Thinking app, and think with power and utilize power thinking. I'm going to go to our phone lines and thank those folks for joining us as we unmute everybody. And let's see who we have. Eric Olson, thanks for joining us. And Camila, great to have you. And Coleman Holmes, so good to see you, Coleman. And we're moving forward with some nice initiatives. Sharon Smalls, Carla, Claudia, Gloria Hanson, George Clark, Greg Jones, Janice Costo. We have others, and Calvin Patterson, Doug Sidoti, Lindsay Inger, and everyone else. Appreciate you all. Make it a great remainder of the week. Take care, everybody. We appreciate you. All right. Stay blessed. All right. And for our folks here, thank you all so much. And let's see if we have one other comment from Felipe. Stanley, could you list the 5 negative emotions you are referring to again? One more time. And I'll put them in the comments as well. And each week, or when you go into the notifications on the app, you'll see them. First is anger, the belief that someone violated your rights. You have this belief. It may not be valid. In many cases, it's not. But you believe somebody violated your rights. You ride down the road, somebody cut you off. They did this on purpose. They violated me. And you're angry. But you can change that belief and reduce that negative emotion. There's guilt, the belief you violated someone else's rights. I'm driving along. Oh, there's my exit. I was enjoying this music, and I think I can get in. I go in, and I get a horn. The horn is blowing, and I'm looking out my rear view, and a person's giving me the finger, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I really feel guilty because I violated this person's right to have a smooth ride. I didn't see him, actually. And there's sadness. That's just pure loss. Loss of a loved one, loss of a job, loss of a contract, loss of health. And then there's embarrassment, the loss of standing in a group. You were big-time vice president of whatever company, and that's the way you were referred to by neighbors. Oh, here's my neighbor, the vice president. And then, of course, this happens with all of us, including me. You have to come home and you're not vice president anymore. There's anxiety, fear of a future threat. So in our poll, go to my page, Stanley Green on LinkedIn. We have over 80 people who responded to the poll question, which is, in your opinion, which is the most frequently experienced negative emotion? Is it anxiety? Is it anger? Is it sadness? Those are the 3 choices. Or is it something else? A whopping 69% said anxiety. So just wanted to leave that with you. And thanks for bringing that up, Felipe. Thank you so much all over the world for being with us, and make it a fantastic remainder of the week. And we look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. But if you're with the app, we're going to be communicating with you every day through the notifications on your drop down. We're changing the game, and we are so happy that you're part of what we do. So take care, everyone. Enjoy the remainder of the week.